Right to left?
Sure.
Right to left.
Well, it's left for him.
I'll go
Justin,
first.
no.
Hello everyone, my name is Justin. Dalrymple. I'm in my 5th year engineering, and yes, I'll be here next year. Within the last 5 years, since I've came to McGill, I've been involved in the EUS either through frosh leadering or living in Infosys, or eating ice cream at Frostbite, or et cetera, et cetera. And I kind of haven't really left yet, so that's pretty fun. Over the last 2 years, I've been a manager at Frostbite, and I've learned a lot from my experience, specifically interactions with other people at McGill that are not the EUS, like administration over the summer or whatever. For next year, my not mandate, but platform is to increase feedback and publicity of the services. I think the real problem with the EUS right now is we have all these ideas, but there's no focal point for the ideas or ways for people to share those ideas. When I made the Facebook question, what do you guys want from your services? And everyone just posted everything. I think that's a really good thing to have, and I want something like that, but that's not Facebook. Yeah, services. Very short.
Hi guys, my name is Dean. I'm a U1 mechanical engineer, so my first year here. And I don't have a lot of experience in McGill. However, I do have a lot of experience elsewhere. I've come from CEGEP, and in CEGEP I was highly involved in our Model UN team, which ended up ranking in the top 50 in North America. That includes colleges. So it was up there with McGill, and I was a huge part of that. I've done many leadership trainings, and I've also been involved in training people in the workplace. I used to work at the Currency Exchange office, and I was very involved in actually training people. The reason why I want to be VP Services is because I see a huge potential in the services here. However, a lot of unrealized potential. So when I say that, I mean there's been so much invested into the EUS model over the past year. Over the past 2 years, we've actually been running a deficit, and like Patrick mentioned before, a lot of this has come from one-time expenses. I think over the next year, or even 2 years, our main goal should be focusing on increasing awareness around not only engineering, but also around campus. Frosh is a huge place for that. I think U0s, we need to really jump on U0s because there's so few U0s that know about what's going on. There's a million ways to do that. We can discuss that later, we can go all night. One other thing that I think is huge is the fact that Copy US has some of the best printing facilities on campus. However, we don't print that much outside of the engineering undergrad society. There's so many places that we've only just started to print for. So for example, over the past week or so, 2 weeks I think, we started contacting the MUS. I'm personally very good friends with the president of the MUS right now, and I've spoken to him about getting more involved in printing their things. There's places all over the place. We can do carnival packages. I'm not going to go into everything we can print because that'll take forever. But I'm just saying there's so much unrealized potential, and we just need to focus in on awareness and going around campus and making the EUS model important around campus.
Hi, my name is Lian Al Bardweel, and I'm currently in U2 Civil Engineering. I started in U0 at McGill, and ever since I've been super involved in anything I could get involved in. So in my U0 year, I was the finance sub-team captain for Concrete Canoe. I was involved with the U0 committee, and doing that, it helped me realize that I like being involved. I like leading things. I like finding ways to meet more people and to get things done. In my U1 year, I became co-captain of the Concrete Canoe team and VP Student Outreach for PAB. This year, I'm PAB president. I'm still part of the Concrete Canoe team, and I'm part of the bridge building competition that McGill has not competed in for a little while now. So I like to start new things, but as well, I like to expand on what we already have. And that's why I decided that I want to run for EUS VP Services. When I walk into the EUS mall, I just feel happy. like, it's one of the best places to be. Everyone's really friendly, everything's available, it's convenient, it's just really fun to be there. There's sometimes music going on, there's everything you could ever possibly want in just that one little corner. And we want to make that even better. We want to reach out, we want to make it so that people from across campus can come over and see how great this little corner of ours is. Because although it's a little corner, it offers so much more than just that. One important thing that I was saying, which I feel like everyone has touched on here, is that we need to reach out to the rest of campus. Because if we have more customers, we can have more money and maybe make more deals and save, like, so that when you come in and there's a deal available, everyone gets excited and people buy more things. But we can't do that unless we have the money to be able to provide deals. So yeah, Lian Al Bardweel, VP Services.
I guess I'll break the ice. How do you see the general store progress in the next few years?
Yeah, go, move on.
Okay. Over the next few years, I mean, there isn't a lot that we can do, or I think that we should do in terms of renovations and major changes. There is a lot we can do in terms of awareness. I think I've elaborated on that a little bit in what I just said. One other thing that I think is important is looking at the services from a more financial perspective. Over the past years, we haven't been looking into we haven't actually been analyzing the budget and what actually makes money and what does not make money. We haven't been keeping up with stocks as well as I think we should have. So really reanalyzing the financial perspective, creating budgets, and making sure that we know what the students want and bringing that back into the products through means that are financially reasonable and not just saying students want this, therefore we need this. We actually need to focus in on the money aspect, which is super important. I think I don't think we've kept track of that enough.
I think that we need to look at the finances of the EUS overall. Since the money that we make from the EUS mall goes back into the EUS, we need to look at how much money we need and how much money we can make. And it's not necessary that we make too much money if we're okay with the amount that we're making. Because one thing that's really important is that we want to continue to offer competitive rates, and we don't want to be charging too much just so that we can make money. For the G store, I think it'd be really important to see what the people want and provide it. Because the other day, for example, we needed batteries, and I was like, where on earth can we get batteries right now? Like, everything's too far. And then like, I went to the G store and they had batteries, and they saved the day, because without batteries, we wouldn't have been able to have our event. So that's something that's really important, to provide all possible things that someone could need on campus.
Cool. So as they both said, our finances are like a pillar to like operating properly. But I want to stress the fact that the services and G Store is not just a finance like generating or finance money generating place. It is for providing the service for all the students. And so yes, we need to be competitive, but we also need to have it in such a way that we're not looking at it just to make tons of money. We're looking at it like, okay, like you said, you needed batteries. Should we still have batteries? And also both things that you guys touched on, like publicizing, like back to your batteries example. If you wanted like a new product, there needs to be an avenue for students to like bring it up to the G Store or any of the services or the EUS. And right now there's lacking that. Like I guess they could talk to a G Store manager, but that thing that you require from the G Store could probably be better suited if you talk to like VP.com or whatever. So I really want to bring like that avenue more along the lines of publicizing. All the products, like the main products from G Store, I think they should be bigger. And by terms of bigger, I mean you want to know that they have paninis for $4.99 or whatever, instead of like this little small words in G Store, and when it's closed you can't really see it. So like how Frostbite currently has the blackboard kind of thing, I want to do kind of something similar right before the massive G Store logo, like the first G Store logo. That makes sense. Cool, awesome, yeah, that's all.
Cool. As just kind of finished on top, I know what you guys did. Looking at bigger outreach and stuff, how would we actually make that happen? Because I'm sure it's been talked about in years past, all the managers have probably tried. How do you think this year we can actually make it happen that we get other people beyond the EUS or more people of the EUS come into these services?
Cool. Well, so like something we tried this year that I think worked relatively well, and last year was, and for example, Frostbite, like the engineering on ice cream, it was like open to anyone, and it gave people like something to be interested in about Frostbite, and by being interested in it in such a way, they came around more often. We had people from like all different departments. We had administration give ideas. Also, with I think it was in November, we had like faculty tuning week, and so like different faculties would have like a deal for that week, which invited them more to the space, and then publicizing that in all of their like pipeline like things. Similar thing could be done for G Store for any other items. Cop US, more to emphasize the fact that well we have a copy center and they offer competitive rights as opposed to Uber. Same kind of.
Should I go first or should you go?
You messed up last time, but just go for it. Leanne goes first next time.
Okay.
I thought
Yeah, anyway, so we've all kind of touched on that. Even in the president's debates, we've spoken a little bit about different ways to do this. I think that the single most important thing for improving awareness next year is Frosh. There's so many ways that you can get Frosh people involved. People that are at Frosh just came to the school and they're looking for something to do. No one wants to go into McGill and say, I don't want to be involved, I'm closing my eyes. Everyone is looking for something. And we need to be the ones to just jump out at them and be like, this is something you can do, this is somewhere where you can be. There's so many ways you can do this, one of which is you can have ice cream at the Y intersection. Frostbite is going to be huge in terms of getting people to come because ice cream really does sell itself. Like everyone loves ice cream. Something that we did this year was we gave freezies to everyone. Said presented by Frostbite and just bring people there. The first day, like before Frosh, they kind of give you a tour around campus. Those tours I didn't think were fantastic, and I think that they really didn't emphasize the EUS Mall at all. I actually didn't even know about it until halfway through my first semester, which I think is ridiculous. If you really emphasize it during those tours and just say, look what's going on, and you have those actually running during the events, then people from U0 starting on will already know and already move into working with the EUS Mall.
Deals and Frosh and getting people to know about it are all really good ideas. And in addition, I think we need to talk to the different departments. Each department has a council, and that council would be happy to tell its people to come since like we're offering a great service. Like the EUS Mall is something that can help the students, and like if they need any stationery or things to be printed, it's really important for them to know about it. So spreading the word shouldn't be too hard, but it's definitely something that is an issue. McGill campus is pretty big, but it's also pretty centered, and we need to get everyone to know about everything. Like I feel like going to Bronfman seems like the end of the world right now, but if they advertised that they had something equivalent to an EUS Mall, I would want to go and check it out.
This is just a spin-off really of Carlos's question before for the president's debate, but you're going to be dealing with employees. That's with you when you have 3 services. I was just curious of what your leadership style is, once again, but also can you give an example of how you were a leader and how you were able to manage a group of people? You all seem to have experience in that.
I've had many leadership opportunities where I've worked with many different kinds of people and I've had to deal in different ways. When being a leader, it's important to see where people are coming from, what they're doing. Like if someone is not doing what they're supposed to, that's where it gets a little tricky. But it's important to like talk to them, like see why it is that they're not doing it. Like, do they need help? You need to be able to provide like support. Although everyone has their own position, it shouldn't be that like they feel alone. Like we should build a community so that like everyone can help each other. A specific example, when I was the concrete canoe co-captain, one of our sub-team captains, he was unable to like proceed with his position. And like we had to like talk to him, make sure that like what is he able to do, what is he not able to do, and like although that was really difficult to do, it had to be done, and like we ended up resolving the issue. So most importantly, like I'd say, like I like talking to people and making sure that everything was going okay, and communication is key when it comes to leadership.
That's to me. I hate to sound repetitive, but I'm a listener kind of. I'm very open to ideas, regardless if I like the ideas or not. Very open to ideas. I'm willing to try anything new. Specific. For example, we recently changed our Frostbite logo. You guys don't really know about this, but we recently changed our Frostbite logo to a penguin with a bucket of ice cream on it. I personally, not a big fan, just because, you know, old Frostbite. But went through that anyways because it showed that Frostbite was changing with the times and that it's like a new image for Frostbite. Another example. Little more minor kind of example. At OAP, there are some, for example, volunteers that don't really want to volunteer and more just want to, you know, have beverages. And so like to deal with that, you have to be very, not political, but careful. You don't want to scare volunteers away, because well, you need volunteers. But you also don't want to leave any room for doubt when, like, in what you're trying to get across. So like, for example, if someone's drinking like too much, like, you know, we appreciate your help, but you really can't be drinking that much behind the counter or behind or whatever. You might want to do it somewhere else. And if like they give you a hassle about it, you get progressively stricter until, well, if there's an issue, tell them to leave, or thank you for your help and your time, we appreciate it, but we don't want that here. It really depends on the situation, and so I reacted differently depending on the situation. Yeah, so my handling of situations can be between me like, haha, yay, don't do that, or like extremely strict, like this is not tolerable here.
All right, so I think that there's many different types of leaders. Two of which would come to mind right now, which I think are both important in the EUS Mall, is the visionary and the organizer. The organizer is the one that deals with operations and making sure that everything runs smoothly, dealing with things here and there, little things that go wrong with with employees, and making sure that everything runs smoothly. Then there's also the visionary. The visionary is the one that comes up with new ideas, that comes up with different ways to improve the business from a larger perspective, that sees over everything. And I think that I'm more in that perspective than the other. So, for example, being a visionary, you're responsible for bringing everyone together and making sure that everyone is on the same page in terms of where they want to go with this thing. I'm going to give an example of something that I was thinking of doing something in terms of my Model UN experience or my work experience, but I'm going to give an example about my grade 11 rugby experience. I played a lot of rugby in high school. Believe it or not, I've been literally this size since I was like 13 years old. I used to be great at rugby. But when I was in grade 11, we had a little bit of a problem where we didn't have enough people that were good at rugby playing. We had a few guys that were excellent, and a lot of people that like weren't sure if they were playing, kind of playing because their friends were playing. And I've seen this before. People get injured when that happens. People quit when that happens. People don't enjoy it when that happens. So I spoke to the head coach, and we both saw the same problem, and we decided to completely reformat the senior rugby team. What we did is instead of having a 15s team, we had a 7s team, which is exactly what it sounds like. Instead of 15 people on the field, you have 7 people on the field. It's a completely different game. A lot of people disagreed with this choice. I pushed a lot of people. Being captain of the team, I made sure that the people that were really involved in rugby supported me, and I said this is the right move. And what ended up happening is we probably had the best season that we've ever had at my high school. We won almost everything. The people around us, the leaders in the team, worked together and brought together even more people than the 15s. People got stronger and better together. We started doing a thing called Workout Wednesdays, where we all go to the gym together. No other team does this in my high school. And through foreshadowing what's going to happen, through seeing, foresight, you can make decisions that other people won't make to make a better team. And that's the type of leader that I am.
I'm gonna just put myself first. Generally, people who go into the VP services don't see the aspect of it that isn't the services upstairs. Stuff like the lockers, stuff like the common room, and that just totally gets left by the wayside, and stuff doesn't get done, and you have bad common room managers, etc., etc. How do you feel about these other services, and do you have any plans for them that are revenue generating? And I think Justin starts first this time.
Okay, well, specifically the common room, a few things that really bother me that I want to fix, like that door, not having a thingy, like really bothering me. Some other things, the kitchen counter needs to be replaced because it's starting to like pull up. All these things, there's more, but all these other things that I've noticed, it's just because of being around the place. And I think as VP service and being around the place, I can see more of the problems and address more of the problems. With regards to lockers, they need to be upkept, yes. We could have more lockers if we found more space. But like, I think right now the space is being used for design teams. So it's not like I'd overlook them, but the improvement on lockers themselves, I'm up for ideas. That's why the avenue of ideas, I thought, yeah.
So, as far as managing the lockers and the common room, there's a really simple answer to that. It comes with just not overlooking it and actually paying attention to it. Creating a detailed schedule that you can actually format. Like during the summer, I plan on making a lot of things, standardizations that will allow this type of thing, keeping track of who has a common room at what times, and keeping track of who has lockers and managing those. I plan making standards for that to make it super easy so that not only do you not have to put that much work into it, but it's really hard to screw up if you make a good standard. As far as straight up keeping track of it, I'm extremely hardworking, and there's absolutely no way that I would let one of my primary responsibilities go overlooked.
I really like the website that we have up right now for common room bookings. I feel like that has simplified things a lot more and has made it easier for people to see what is available at what times and be able to book the common room more efficiently. As opposed to like in the past where you could only like email and hope that the time you selected is available. So that was something that was done to the common rooms that has already made the common rooms better. But of course, there's still so much more that could be improved. Like for example, the lockers, a lot of them are missing the locker doors so no one could use them, so it'd be nice to put new locker doors. As well as thinking maybe we could have some of the lockers be for short-term use, because a lot of people just need the lockers at some times and not always. But right now they're only booked like for the semester, and that makes it so that there's not as many available for people who don't need it the whole semester. Yeah.
Building on this, it's building on it.
Okay,
That's okay.
go for it. Go for it.
Okay, so there's been a lot of talk already about the EUS Mall and what your vision is for the space, with the student, how students belong in that space, but then also the flip side, how those services upstairs are managed and run. So far, I think the three of you just addressed more or less how the common room is run, as in delegating responsibility to the managers, making sure they focus on it, on the system, making sure the counters get fixed. But what's, I think, really valuable is to know what your vision and idea, like two things. What do you see the common room as right now for students, and what do you see it could be? Because for instance, one of the big things that happens here is Blues Pub. That's only 5 hours a week. So what's happening the rest of the week, and what could be happening the rest of the week, and what do you think the space means to students and could be for students?
Should go first. So, I mean, I believe it was 3 years ago that we had renovations in the common room. So, just because of that, I think that in terms of completely reformatting the way we have the common room, I think that's a little bit inefficient in terms of money, especially since we were dealing with deficit. So this would have to really come from the ID's perspective and the awareness perspective, which I think can, again, include the zeros, which I think have been overlooked in the past years. We have great facilities, so the games room, I hardly see anyone ever using those, and I think if we publicize those a lot more, especially to the new guys who are either like studying or at res. Like res is, it's great, but like you want to get out of there sometimes, right? So this could be a great escape for that. I forget who I was speaking to before. Oh, I remember he left. But he said like we should have beers here all the time. Like this thing always running, which I don't know if that's like 100% feasible, but like there are lots of great ideas like that people that's like his vision as a student. What he wants this place to be. I mean, making this a bar like 24/7, like it's a lot. But there's a lot of different things that we can do, and I think there's a lot of things that have already been done. So just spreading those ideas and bringing more people here would be a great way to improve the common room.
Can I clarify that question a bit?
Sure.
So, I want to know what your vision is for what the space is right now, what it can be. So like, and how it's being used by, so specifically how it's being used by students and how it could be used by students.
Okay, 30 seconds.
30 seconds, go for it.
Okay,
Yeah.
so right now I think that a lot of people are using it just for Blues Pub, and there's like some people studying and some people taking naps. I think they become, that's the vision I see now, I think become a lot more lively. Like I said, the games room is awesome, everyone uses it, and I think people have like meetings and stuff down here, which doesn't happen, so.
Okay. Well, I've personally used the common room for many different things. Like we always have our meetings down here, which is like a great meeting spot. I've also used it to study, and I've spent some time in the games room playing pool. And I've had socials organized in the games room where I brought in my Kinect and we played Xbox. So the common room right now offers a lot, but a lot of people just don't know that it is available. What it can become, that's all up to the students, it's all up to you. What do you want it to become? Like we're gonna have to talk and see what people want from the space, how we can improve it. It offers a lot right now, but it is also a really big space and a lot more can be done. It's also very spacious, so there could be like classes held in here, like dance classes or any other sort of classes, yoga. Well, you could have yoga in the mornings here. So a lot more can be done here, and we'll definitely talk about what could be done and try and make it better and use the space more wisely.
Cool. Okay, so like they both said, common room right now is used pretty much just like a hangout place, study or play games. I think the reason why it's used that way, for most students that know of the common room, which is one of the issues, is because that's what they want the areas for. They want a place where they can contribute with the other ignorant people in like a common area. Hence I think the main problem, and like what I see for the common room in the future, anyways, is making that more publicized. Because like I've never really come down to the common room, like to study, because I didn't know that was available to me until like recently, yes. And I think a lot of groups don't know that. Like there are meetings here that are held here, or classes, depending who knows about the common room. But it still comes back to the fact that most committees or groups don't know this place exists. And like you said, it's very spacious, and if they did know this area was available to them, they would make use of it a lot more. So again, in the future, publicizing, words, not for today. And just like hearing back from what people want out of the room. The best way to move forward, you know?
We've been waiting for a very long time.
Thanks. I guess touching on the common room again, would you ever rent out the common room space and why? And follow-up question, what is your favorite thing offered by the services right now? Be it something at like G-Store, a flavor ice cream, or something else.
That's me, right? Right to the common room?
No, yeah, first.
Okay, I forgot the question now.
First part was, would you ever rent out the common room and why?
Okay, renting out the common room is something that is like something that can be done. However, I think students at McGill come first. Like if there's a club or a committee that wants to do something in the common room, they should come before any other business or whoever it is that wants to have something done in the common room. So it would be a good idea to do that because we could get more money in, but at the same time, we don't want to be taking the space away from the students. Second part of the question was?
What's your favorite thing offered by the services right now?
Oh, that's a tough question. All the services are quite amazing, but I'd have to say it's the ice cream.
Sorry,
I think it's actually the best ice cream I've ever tasted. The ice cream would definitely win for me, although all the other services are really amazing. I love how Copy EUS could provide you with with some stuff printed on any size. Like when I did the surveying course in the summer, we had to print maps that were like this big, and they have a printer that's this big that prints them out, and it was very amazing. The G-Store, I already told you my batteries story. They saved my event, so it's all right. So services are amazing, but ice cream wins.
Step back. We're not rent out the common room. Yes, if like we'd have to, I guess, sit down and see whether or not it was worth renting out, because then it'd become a revenue generating area, and we'd have to pay rent on the area. And like if we rented out, we have to rent it enough so that we'd be able to pay off that rent and end up running constant, I guess, or neutral or net zero. Bam. Also, if it were to rent out, it wouldn't be. I don't think it should be rented out to engineering committees or anything related to the EUS. Solely because this space is for the EUS, and so we should have priority. But like in terms of like renting out to like MUS functions or administration wants to have a cocktail, I mean, I think it'd be a good way to get more people down here that are not part of the EUS. And favorite thing, vanilla ice cream, straight up. Just straight vanilla, nothing special.
So in terms of renting out the space, I would have to say personally, I would say no. An excellent point was brought up about the rent, the actual paying rent on this. That's something that should be taken into consideration, that should be looked into. But in terms of if the executive committee chooses that, in general, they want to rent out this space, I'm not gonna say absolutely no. Personally, I'm saying that I would prefer not to. To me, the common room is a space for students. And if the students every once in a while come down, they check it, they take a look in and say like, is it rented this time? Okay, it is. Gotta go. Like, I don't want people to be worried about whether it's rented for something or not, or whether they can use it. I want it. To me, the common room should be something that is available to students and only for the students at all times. But like I said before, I would be open to switching that if the executive team chooses to. My favorite service that the EUS Mall provides. As much as I love the ice cream, I'd have to say it would be the reliability of the G-Store. I think Copy EUS is great too, but it doesn't provide the same type of service to me personally on a day-to-day basis. I don't use it all the time. General store it was great. Like I remember the first time I used it, I went to get like a protein bar there. I was just like, wait, this is like half price from the Process Hall, are you sure? And I was just like, I love that place.
Jess, you've been waiting for the longest time.
Thank you. My question is more so directed to Dean and Lian, as I constantly work with Justin, as I am also a Frostbite manager. I want to know if you've spoken to any managers, because I think that's a vital part of the job. You clearly communicate with us often. Nick's done a good job of that, I guess. He's here. And I want to know what you've learned from speaking to any managers, if you have already. So.
I guess. Graham, who's it?
Oh, it's Justin.
But
I
she
do-
skipped
okay, well,
Justin.
Have you
Justin,
spoken to any
Oh,
managers?
yeah.
Do you talk
Fair
to
enough.
yourself at night?
Okay, I'll just go then. So I actually haven't really spoken to the managers very much. I've been focusing more on speaking to the VP services, seeing as that would be the position I would be running for. I've spoken extensively with Nick. Like, we've had so many years together, it's been great. But yeah, I haven't really spoken to the managers that much. I agree that if I were to do this all over again, I would do that. I would speak to the managers more. I still think that it's not over. The time for speak with managers has not ended. That should be throughout. I was actually thinking, during my campaign, I was thinking of things that I would do that may or may not have done in the past, and I said, personally, if I were to be elected, I would actually go and shadow the managers of each store individually for like a day, 2 days, and just observe, just watch how they perform their job and ask questions over here and there, just to see how they work and how you guys actually, the problems that you come up with, and just to see like how it actually ticks, and what happens on like the microscopic scales, what are the small problems that arise, and that would be something that I would really like to see.
I'd say the same. I haven't talked to anyone yet, but it would be definitely something that needs to be done. Since VP services is overlooking all of these services, talking to the managers would be the most important thing to do. Managers know what's going on in each one of these